Hey guys, it's been long put off or long overdue or whatever, but today we're talking about it. Today we're going to talk about the story of how I started dissociating because I found out why I started dissociating. If you guys haven't seen my channel before, or watched any of my videos before, a few months ago when I was on holiday, I realized that I was dissociating, depersonalizing, derealizing, I think it was, and I didn't know why. I thought it was because I was really stressed and I went through a lot of things, but it was really the internship. And Halloween is over, but we're talking about the internship. And I know what you're thinking. What happened in that internship? Nothing happened. It's just that it was all in my head. But I'm going to tell you guys the story. So, how did I start dissociating? What happened? So I did a master's degree, okay? And then I did an internship as part of the master's degree. And then after that internship, all I have to do was the master's dissertation, and that's it. And then after doing the master's dissertation, I went on holiday for the summer because I finished the master's, right? It was not because of that, but I went on holiday. And I realized when I went on holiday, I was feeling a little bit weird. And I realized that I was dissociating because I looked it up. I was like, I feel this and I feel that. What is it? I was dissociating. I felt like I wasn't really in the place that I was. Like I could recognize the place. I remembered it, but I felt like it was my first time there. Like everybody that I was seeing, I knew those people and I had memories of those people, but I didn't, do you know what I mean? Like it felt like the first time I was seeing them. And, and memories, like things from my past. Like every time I would remember something, I was like, yeah, I remember it, but it's almost like it happened to someone else. Like it doesn't feel like it happened to me, And like it almost felt like somebody else was living in my body, you know what I mean? Like somebody else, like, you know what I mean? Like I had just spawned 3 months ago and took over, let's say, my body or my system, whatever. But it was, before me, it was somebody else. And I'm substituting, you know what I mean? Like it felt like that. Like I was taking over, but I really just spawned there, And I realized why. Okay, so back to the internship. Here's the thing. Two big things happened in that internship, and I realized the internship was a great experience. Like it was a really positive experience. I don't want to say I had fun because even though it was like entertaining and stuff, it wasn't like a lot of fun, you know what I mean? Because it was an internship. Here's the thing. The internship, like I said, it was part of my master's degree, which means that I think I was there for almost 3 months, not even 3 months. So almost 3 months. And then you leave, you know what I mean? It was part of the master's degree. I knew that I wasn't going to get hired, but I had a really positive experience. The problem was, here's the thing. The problem was, there was two things, right? First things first. I was not laid off because I wasn't like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like I wasn't like hired, you know what I mean? But like I knew it was going to end. I knew I wasn't going to get hired, I knew, do you know what I mean? Like I knew like nothing was going to happen. I knew they were never going to hire me because even though I did the master's degree in auditing and whatnot, like you need to have training, let's say at a big four, like you need to have training at a bigger company in order to be hired in smaller companies. You know what I mean? Like you need that training. Like if you do an internship at a big four, you really do get the training to get in other companies, And if you don't have that training, most likely they're, you know what I mean? Because like they lack capacity. If it's a smaller company, because I did my internship at a smaller company, like most likely you're not going to get hired because you don't know how to do things. You haven't been trained. They don't have the capacity to train you because they're busy with so many things because there are not that many people and the company's smaller. They have a smaller, capacity. So I knew that, and I knew that. I knew it wasn't going to happen. I knew I wasn't going to get hired. And mind you, well, not mind you, and also I was, okay, but few days before starting the internship, I'm doing a PhD right now. So I was offered the PhD. Like I was offered the PhD by my thesis directors, my current thesis directors. And I was offered that a few days before starting that internship. So even before I started that internship, I already knew that I wasn't going to stay in that internship. Even if they had hired me, I would have said no anyway. Okay? Then what's the problem? You're probably asking. Here's the thing. Imagine you're in a relationship with somebody, okay? You're dating, I don't know, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, whoever it is, and you want to break up with them. You know what I mean? But they end up breaking up with you first. That's kind of what it felt like. You know what I mean? Because like, you know what I mean? Like we don't like to be rejected. Even if I was going to reject them anyway, the fact that I was rejected, they were the ones who were like, okay, we're not hiring. Thank you for your time and shit. You know what I mean? You don't like being told that, I was going to reject them anyway, but they rejected me first. You know what I mean? It's like, imagine I have a boyfriend and I plan on breaking up with him, but he breaks up with me first. It's like, what? I was going to break up with you. You're breaking up with me. You know what I mean? You feel that rejection, because when you reject somebody, you may feel a little bit bad because it's like, oh, I'm going to have to break up with this person. But when they break up with you, it's like, you're rejecting me. Do you know what I mean? So, and I didn't like that. That hurts your ego. That hurt your ego. It was basically my ego that was hurt. So it was that professional rejection. And on top of that, I had a crush on a guy. Okay. I said a few videos ago that I was really certain, like I was sure, like I was almost certain that on the last week he was going to ask me out. I think that sometimes I think that deep down I knew it wasn't going to happen. You know what I mean? But either way, it was like another form of rejection. Do you know what I mean? Like whether, I think he liked another girl, you know, like it wasn't, no, okay, yeah, this is gossip, but he liked another girl. But whether he liked another girl or not, whether he was single, taken, whatever, it doesn't matter. It wasn't going to happen anyway. But it was those two rejections, you know what I mean? That professional rejection and that, you know, let's say emotional or romantic or whatever rejection. And that contrast of, okay, I had not fun, but I had a really positive experience. I liked everyone. Everybody was really nice. It was a really beautiful place and a you know, a really beautiful office and a really beautiful place. Like the place where the office was is beautiful. Okay. And everything was positive and I wasn't too stressed, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't doing, let's say, anything too hard because I didn't know, you know? And so it was that contrast of a really positive experience, you know? It was great, but it ended and I was rejected in two ways, romantically and professionally, or professionally and romantically, whatever you like. And it was that contrast, okay? And I think I fell from a really high place because in the sense that, like, okay, so I was valedictorian, like not in the master's degree, but in the bachelor's, and also actually in high school, but that's besides the point. That doesn't matter. And so the fact that I was valedictorian and I gave a speech in the graduation ceremony and I won an award for that and all that, okay, cool. But even if you are valedictorian, it doesn't mean you're going to get hired in this company. You know what I mean? Like, even, like, I had all this, like, self-esteem, like, okay, I achieved this and I worked really hard and I know I'm a hard worker. I know that I can do things and I speak 2 languages fluently and I did it on my own. You know what I mean? Like, I'm self-taught. You know what I mean? I had that self-esteem, like I'm capable, I can do things, you know, I make content, I'm trying to make it more consistently, all of that, you know, I think I'm kind of cute, you know, like I had this confidence in who I was intellectually, also physically. So the fact that I got rejected in those 2 aspects made me think, like, maybe I'm not that cool, maybe I'm not that cool, maybe I'm not that special, maybe I'm not all that, you know. I was like, what if I'm not as cool as I thought? Like, what if my ego is just too high? You know what I mean? Like, what if, like, I had myself in a higher, like, steam, you know what I mean? Like, or in a higher, like, pedestal or whatever. Maybe I had myself in a pedestal. I don't know. And so I started questioning that, but then I was like, no, but I'm actually great. Like, what are you talking about? Just because I was rejected in that, like, I understood that, you know, I understood why I was not hired. I understood why I was not, like, why this person didn't like me. It has nothing to do with me. It doesn't mean I'm any less cool, you know, like, and I was like, okay, it took a long time for me to get over this guy, and I was thinking about him a lot and whatnot, and I had a lot more time to, like, ruminate about things, even though I was doing the dissertation, like I said. And then I started dissociating, especially, well, I started dissociating a little bit before I finished the master's degree and all that, but I started dissociating even more when I went on holiday. And then I realized I did a lot of introspection. I think that's what you call it, right? Introspection and research and all that. And I realized, I think it was a few weeks into the PhD, that I was like, oh, it was that contrast. It was that contrast of things and that, let's say, double rejection that made me dissociate. Why? Because it was, let's say, that part of myself, that, like, self-esteem that I had, that, like, concept of myself that I had, you know what I mean? Like, that vision, that concept, that opinion of myself that I had, that sense of identity, right? That I had myself in, or that I considered myself as, or whatever. And it's like, maybe I'm not all that. Maybe I'm not that cool. Maybe I'm not that pretty. Maybe I'm not that smart. Maybe I'm not that good as a prospect, like, to work and all that. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm not worthy of this and that, or whatever, like, of opportunities or X, Y, and Z. And even though I was already offered the PhD, like I said, but nobody likes to be rejected. And I think my brain was like, you know what? No, we're not having this. You know what I mean? Like, it took there was a point where I started my bachelor's where I lost all of my confidence because I was a good student. Like I said, I was valedictorian in high school, but it was really, really hard. Like the jump for a lot of people, the jump between like middle school and high school is like really high. For me, it wasn't that high, but the jump from high school to college for me was really high. So I lost all of my confidence because I was studying so hard, like the hardest I had ever studied, and my grades were not that. They were the lowest they had ever been. So I was like, what the fuck is going on? You know? And why am I saying this? Oh yeah, because I was like, even I thought like, am I gonna lose my confidence now? Like this confidence that I have, is it gonna like go down and then I'm gonna have to build it again? You know what I mean? Like, am I gonna have to, is this one of those moments where I lose confidence and then I have to build it again? So my brain was like, no, we're not having it. We're not having this. This is not happening. No. This is not happening. Who did these people reject? No, it wasn't me. No, they didn't reject me. They rejected somebody else. Matter of fact, I don't even know why I remember it. I don't even know why I remember these people. Who are these people? I don't even know. That didn't happen to me. That didn't happen to us. It happened to somebody else. So we're cool. Ain't nobody rejected us, because that was not us, okay? I don't know who they rejected. These people, I don't know. Because that's how I felt. Like, I remember being on a holiday. Like, I remember the internship. I remember this guy had a crush on. I remember all these things. But why does it feel like I don't know them? Like, sometimes I would think about my crush and I would be like, who the fuck is that guy? Like, who is that guy even? Why am I even thinking about him? Why am I stalking him on social media? Like, who the fuck is this guy? And when did he spawn in my life? Did I just spit on camera? Sorry. And so I think that's the reason why my brain dissociated. I think it was like a defense mechanism. Like, okay, we're not losing our confidence right now. Like, this is the last thing we need. This is the last thing we need. We have things to focus on. We're going to start a PhD. We have our side projects that we want to study, side projects, our personal projects that we want to do. Like, we can't have this right now, okay? We can't have this mental existential crisis, whatever. No, this is not happening. So, dissociation. Hey guys, I feel like I under-explained things. You know, I missed a little part. In case you guys didn't, like, quite, like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe somebody out there didn't fully understand it. And I don't know. I feel like I missed a lot of things. Here's the thing. When I said that, my brain was like, no, but who was rejected? It wasn't me. You know, it was this other person. Like, who are these people who rejected me? But, like, that wasn't me. That was another person. Why does it feel like that person was not me? Why does it feel like I don't know these people? You know what I mean? Like, all of that was a defense mechanism, like I said. But it was a way of my brain trying to preserve, let's say, my sense of identity intact. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, because you tend to feel like, okay, like, maybe I'm not that cool. This person didn't like me. Maybe I'm not that interesting. Maybe I'm not that capable. Maybe I'm not that good as a worker because I didn't get hired. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, like, in an effort not to have an existential crisis, like, maybe I'm not that good. Maybe I'm not that pretty. Maybe I'm not that whatever. Maybe I'm not good enough. My brain was like, no. We're going to separate my conscious self, let's say the conscious self, like the part of me that thinks, let's say, from the part of me that is my identity. You know what I mean? Like, who I am, you know, like who, you know, where you're born, where you grew up, the people you grew up with, your family, your friends, whatever, like who you are as a person, the things that you've done. You know what I mean? Like, your sense of identity is, you know, like me, it's separated from your sense of, okay, I am me, I exist, I think. You know what I mean? So it makes you think like that was another person, so that you don't feel that rejection was personal. You know, that person, it was somebody else, so why would it affect me? You know, it kind of like numbs you. And I did feel a little bit numb. I was like, I don't know, I feel like numb now. You know what I mean? Like, it affected me, but now I feel like, in a weird way, like, I feel weird because I'm dissociating, but in a weird, like, I feel like, do you know what I mean? Like, not good, not bad. You know what I mean? Like, it was a way of preventing that existential crisis of maybe I'm not that good, you know? And so it separated my conscious me, like my thinking me, let's say, from my sense of identity, so that my sense of identity wasn't compromised and I don't have to, like I said, build up all of that confidence again and all that, not to have this like breakdown and like having to build from the ground up again and whatever and whatnot. So that was the defense mechanism. That's what the brain does, you know, so that you don't get that hurt as a person, if that makes sense. So I hope that clarified things, because I felt like I needed to say it in case somebody didn't, in case you haven't experienced it, or in case you didn't quite grasp what I was trying to say. And so yeah, bye guys. How did I get over that dissociation? I have no idea. I think it was just a mixture of things. Like, I just realized a few weeks ago, a few days ago, that I got over my crush. And also I realized just today that now I remember my internship, because like a few weeks ago I would remember my internship and it would still hurt. I was still like, oh, the internship, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, I would remember it like, do you know what I mean? With like mixed feelings, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like I had such a positive experience and I liked everybody and whatnot, but like this, like, you know, sort of rejection that I felt, you know what I mean? Like, it was like this contrast, this like bittersweet memory. And now I'm more like, okay, cool, like it happened, you know, it taught me a lesson. I learned a lot of things, like I went through things and stuff, but now I'm, let's say, chill, you know what I mean? Like, now I'm cool with it, you know? And you know, slowly but surely, am I 100% over it? Probably not, because that takes a long time. But the thing is, like, I'm over it, and I think I'm over it because I started a lot of things. I started a new job, which reminds me of, like I said, I was offered it like a few days before starting the internship. So that reminds me of, okay, like maybe I was not fit for this job, but I was fit for this other job. Matter of fact, so much so that I was offered this job, you know, and now I'm doing this, and it reminds me of how good I was academically. You know what I mean? It's like a continuation, let's say, of that, if that makes sense. And I'm cool with this place, and I'm learning how to do this, and I'm learning how to do that. It's a very different job. It's a very different experience, and I'm going through this, and I'm going through that, and I had a few fuck ups, and I said it on the last few videos, like I said this and I said that and I did the other thing, and then I felt bad, and then I was thinking about other things, and then now I'm thinking about this again, and I'm like, oh, I'm over it, you know, because life goes on and you keep doing things, you know, and you keep building that confidence back and this sense of identity. It's like, well, at the end of the day, like, it's fine, you know. And I don't know if there's any lessons to learn from all of this. I don't know how to prevent dissociation, how to stop dissociation, but I guess, like, just keep yourself busy and kind of like maybe do things that remind you that just because you were rejected, let's say, by a romantic interest or by, you know, a company or whatever, I mean, it's relatively normal. It's probably the norm to not be hired after your internship or after your first internship. I would say that it's actually the norm. So am I the only one? No, but it was my first time. And I think that when it's your first time, you're like, oh shit, especially when you had a great experience, and then leaving is like, but I had such a fun time, like I could have stayed for a little bit longer. I don't know. So it's weird. You know, it's weird. And so yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. I hope somebody relates to this. I hope this video helped somebody out. Maybe like helping you see like why you started dissociating, if you have dissociated ever, or like if you have ever been rejected at a job, or if you had a crush and they rejected you or whatever. I mean, not that this guy like rejected me, but like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to dox things that happened. Anyway, so before I start saying too many things, I'm gonna wrap this video up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.